Dirty Birds, what's up? And welcome back to the Atlanta Falcons Podcast Network. I am your host, Will McFadden. I'm joined today by Tori McElhaney, and summer is moving right along.
Right.
So, Tori, I want to know, what's your favorite summer snack? What you been munching on?
So I'm a big fan of an apple on the beach.
Okay.
Like, not just
You don't get sand in the apple?
No, because you hold it. Like,
Well, sure.
Yeah, and then when you are done, you throw it at a seagull. Don't hit the seagull.
But like there's wind and like sand does get blown around
Yeah.
from time to time.
Yeah, but I do love specifically an apple on the beach. It just hits different. Big fan of some strawberries. Love strawberries. And then I recently have gotten into the like pretzels that are like the honey mustard flavored pretzels / the buffalo flavored pretzels. Big fan of those. I don't know what they're called, and it's escaping me. But I can chow down on those.
No, I know exactly what they do have. One of them does have the mustardy flavor to it. I love those.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big pretzel guy in general.
You're not.
I think I don't know. They're just kind of bland. Like they don't really have a flavor to me.
How dare you?
If I'm getting my
It's the
sodium intake, I can just do like
the flavor
like
is
chips, like a normal person.
salt. That's the flavor.
I'm salty enough as it is. I don't think I need any more
Any more
sodium.
salt, yeah.
My sodium level's through the roof. I think I tend more towards like the watermelon grape, kind of like those.
Yeah, we're healthy.
Just traditional.
This is a healthy podcast.
You know, if I'm going to eat a food,
physically.
I need to hydrate too in the summer. It's hot. It's hot down here in
Yeah.
Georgia. So we're going to be talking today about, kind of the hottest positions in football in terms of attitude and demeanor and swag. And that's what today is all about, Tori. We're talking about swag.
The summer of swag.
There we go. You want to explain how we kind of landed on this idea,
Yes.
how it even came about?
Yes, it was actually from a podcast that we did around mini camp where we just so happened to be talking which position group do you think is like the swaggiest position group? Because we were talking about the context of like nickel, corner, and how you have to have a certain type of demeanor when you play certain positions, and each position kind of has a slightly different demeanor that you have to have. And at the time we were joking, it was like, oh, this could be a fun podcast segment. It could be so much, it could be cool. Like we could argue, throw fists, like it would be fun. And then fast forward to now us sitting here right now, we're doing it. We're having this conversation, and we are going to be ranking positions, just general. Not saying that an offensive lineman can't be swaggy. He surely can, but we're generalizing the positions.
When you think of an offensive lineman.
Do you think of swag? Probably not.
No spoilers.
So we're going to get into this ranking, and I'm so excited about it. Do you want to tell them what the tiers are? Because we're doing this in a tier type of listicle.
Yeah, so our tiers for our vibe valuations are God tier. That's the number one. We got Swag Master. That's number two. Low Key Swag, number three. Fourth and final, Dad Swag, which I lobbied against a little bit. I'd say it's just after Father's Day. It's just a few weeks ago.
But it's a specific type of swag,
It's true.
Like it's not a lack of swag. It's a different type of swag.
Trust me, I don't think anybody sees me and they're like, swag.
What a swaggy guy, that Will McFadden.
I know my place. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the positions out of or from behind our helmet. And that way it's all kind of random. We don't know what's coming. We don't know which one we're talking about next. And we're just going to get into it and debate some swag levels. So you want to do the honors and pull our first one?
I would love to. The first one is wide receiver.
Oh, that's a good one to start off with.
I feel like this one's one of the easiest ones we could have started off with.
Dipping our toe in the pool.
God tier wide receivers have to have the most swag of positions, I feel like, on rosters. Because
I disagree with you there.
Okay, here's my thing, is I think they have to have the most swag because when you look at the role that they have to play, some of the swaggiest and coolest people that you'll ever meet on a team are receivers because they have to carry themselves almost on an island. And I think the counter to that is like cornerbacks are in the same kind of position. You're going 1v1 all the time. And in order to kind of have the mindset of not being beat or being beat all the time, you have to have kind of this like short memory and mentality of like, oh, I got beat on this one, no one's going to come at me and beat me again type of thing. And you have to have that mindset as a receiver and as a corner too, not to jump the gun. So I'm putting receiver in God tier.
Is there any amount of swag that a player can have where they almost go overboard? And the reason I ask you this is because when I think about wide receiver, yeah, a lot of them have swag, but sometimes, and I would argue with receiver more than maybe any other position, you get like the swag that veers over into just like pure unbridled craziness at times, right? Like Antonio Brown or, you know, any of those just crazy antics. And like, where do you draw the line between that swag and that's just kind of like crazy?
Well, I guess the argument...
Or can you have swag without a little bit of crazy?
I think you have to have a little bit of crazy.
Okay.
Like, I think you have to, in order to be God tier level swag, you have to have this certain point of like a point of no return almost. And I feel like the people who I often feel like have that are these receivers. Like, we'll just use Drake London as an example.
Yeah.
Drake London, very swaggy, just in general, in his everyday life. He's a super chill guy, like has this way about him. He's super cool to be around. You get on the field and he's a maniac.
Super Saiyan swag from Drake London on Sundays.
So much of his mentality has to do with kind of being the best of the best.
Yep.
And I think more often than not, you have receivers who are incredibly vocal about that as well in their abilities. Like, you think back to like Julio, or you look at like Mike Evans right now, and those guys, the way that they play is these are the guys that are in the spotlight all the time. Outside of quarterbacks, you're talking about receivers probably right underneath.
The ball gets thrown to you. All eyes in the building are looking at you, and there's nobody but you and the guy that's trying to stop you from doing what you're trying to do.
So you have to have a different level of mentality. That includes being super cool. Also, let's be real. Like, when we're looking at fit picks on game days, quarterbacks, receivers, best game day fits.
Oh, for sure.
In my humble opinion.
I had to do a replay in my brain, make sure you said fit picks and, not anything else. That we're not.
Yep.
We're speaking to some fans here, but not maybe those fans. So, yeah, that's going to go into the God tier. I totally agree. I think wide receiver 100% belongs in God tier. Yep. So let's go ahead and pull our next position group, and it is... Oh, this will be interesting. Head coach.
Ooh, fascinating.
How much swag do you want your head coach to have?
They have to have a little bit. Because you're having to talk to players who have a lot of swag. So you're having to like relate to them on some level, I think.
Is it important, though, for you to express swag in your introductory press conference?
Yes.
Or can it be entirely behind the scenes?
No, I think that there needs to be at least one moment of swagginess. Like one moment of just like, we made the right decision.
At the very least, not one moment where there is the opposite feeling where you're like, oh, no.
Yeah, like Duval. Like, that was not very swaggy.
You don't want to Duval.
Yeah, and so I think... For me, I would put head coach at low-key swag. I wouldn't necessarily put it at dad swag, because even though there are certain coaches that I feel like have fantastic dad swag.
Andy Reid.
Yep, Andy Reid.
Hall of Fame.
Dad swag.
Caliber dad swag.
Yeah, dad swag. Like, I 100% think, but I also...
Sean McVay kind of dad swaggy.
Yeah, a little bit. But then I think of some other guys like Mike Tomlin.
Oh, he's like a swag master.
Big swag guy.
Yep.
So I think low-key swag is a nice in the middle of, like, if we're taking the average head football coach at the NFL level, you have some guys who are dad swaggy. You have some guys who are pretty swag mastery. We'll go right in the middle with low-key swag. A head coach has to have low-key swag.
This is like sentence scoregami over here.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Okay, next one?
Yep.
Okay. Inside linebacker.
Let's go. God, I'm so glad you're the one asking me this question, because they are swag masters, if not God tier. I flirted with God tier swag. Yeah.
You did?
Yes, because I think we're not that far removed, but we act like we are from the days of Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher.
True.
And just all of these absolute monsters who used to roam the middle of the field. And I just think that we need to respect that for decades, if not centuries, this game was played with the guy right there in the middle of the defense being the baddest dude on the field. And I think we just need to honor that legacy a little bit. And we don't need to dump these guys down into low-key or dad swag territory. They are swag masters, if not God tier.
But here's the thing, is that the game now?
You could argue.
Think about the game right now, and think about the
Fred Warner, pretty swaggy.
Right, he is pretty swaggy, but like, that's one guy. You know, I feel like
there's Caden Ellis is more like cool and laid back, and it's like.
Well, I also think that like you think about the position itself and how analytical it has to be. How.
Are you saying smart guys can't have swag?
No, I'm not saying smart guys can't have swag. It's a different type of swag. I would argue it's low-key swag.
Okay.
So I think that when you're looking at the position now, the position has lended itself to a different generation of player, an archetype of player.
It's interesting, though. Why do you think it is that the middle linebacker position kind of maybe did regress a little bit in terms of that swagginess? Yeah.
I think it's because like you lost the shoulder pads. You lost the neck brace, and there went the swagginess. And
oh my God, we need Brian Bosworth just neck rolls here to like bring that back. That was another good one.
You lost it, and now it's more about kind of the swiftiness of the position, and it's just a different type of player, like a Deion Jones,
right? Levante David, Demario Davis,
the guys who's stretching the field sideline to sideline,
Smith,
right? Like those guys are swaggy, yes, but they're a bit more. Again,
you'd almost think they'd be more swaggy though.
You would think that they would be, but I don't think they're presenting themselves as like super vocal in the sense of like, oh my. I think they're a bit more like, oh yeah, I'm the. For lack of a better word, you know, like I'm cool. I don't need to like go out and prove it to anybody. So it's a bit more low key. Is my thought process.
No, I totally get that. That makes a lot of sense. And like Bobby Wagner, right? Just like could have dripped swag if he wanted to, but he was quiet. He was cerebral. He was more the leader. So yes, it's like the examples, the Luke Kuechly's, the Bobby Wagners, those guys kind of are a little bit of a far cry from those dudes right in the middle. But again, you know, I kind of feel so. If we're gonna, let's maybe go to our producer Jared here. As
Jared.
a tiebreaker, I kind of see writing in the document there. If you want to declare our tiebreaker, swag master, low key swag for inside linebackers. What you got, Jared?
What are you putting it, Jared? I'm really curious to see what producer Jared decides. I think he's thinking
low key swag. Except for Fredddy, because he's a BYU guy.
Oh, yeah. Jared's a BYU guy.
Yep. Okay, we'll go with low-key swag, and I'm remembering that, Jared. I'm remembering that. I'm noting.
Okay. All right, so we got head coach and inside linebacker at low-key swag. We have wide receivers God tier. Is it your turn or my turn?
It is my turn.
Your turn.
Pulling. All right, we have cornerback.
God freaking tier.
Pretty easy. We can
God tier.
Probably move on quickly from that one.
I have literally never met a cornerback that has a like normal brain. I feel like you cannot, if you play that position, because to the same point of what I was saying about receiver, you are on such an island, and every mistake you make or every good thing you do is highlighted tenfold. Because you could make one mistake in a game and people are like, oh, he had a bad game because he, messed up on this route concept or whatever and decided to do something that he wasn't supposed to do. When you could also have 3 PBUs in a game and no one's really talking about, they're just talking about that one mistake because you gave up a touchdown. So I think the level of mess up, like the ceiling of messing up is a lot higher because so many people see you mess up.
Yeah.
And I think in order to have the bounce back mentality, you have to be a little bit unhinged.
Tori, if you show me a cornerback with an ounce of empathy, I will show you a cornerback that I don't want on my team.
No.
Get him out of here.
No.
I want egomaniacs.
Yes.
I want self-centered cornerbacks who are out there on islands duking it out against those crazy divas on the offensive side. We're going Joker against Joker.
Mm-hmm. You have to do that. You have to. Crazy versus crazy.
Crazy likes crazy.
All right. Let's go again because that one was a very easy one. I think that was number 1. All right. Running back.
Ooh.
This one's very interesting because, again, I actually would say this mimics to me inside linebackers.
I see this one more. So I think we're both on low-key swag.
Low-key swag for running backs because I do think, like, Saquon,
you want some workhorse to your running back.
Yeah, and you want him to have that quiet confidence about him. Like the guy that's just going to carry the team on his back.
Yep.
And do it in a way that you're just like...
Go give me Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Go give me somebody who's just going to work tirelessly for like a decade and a half and just produce.
Yeah. Think about the three. Here's the thing. Think about the three best running backs in the game right now: Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Bijan Robinson.
Yep.
Those guys have a lot of swag. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, but they also carry themselves in a way that's like they're approachable.
Yeah.
You know,
they literally low-key swag is the best descriptor maybe for the running back position of like any of the descriptors
anyone.
we have. Yeah.
Great.
Because they're not in your face about it.
Exactly.
All right.
They're still swaggy.
So now we have on to our next one, long snapper.
Woo!
Which I might know, Jared, is actually 2 words.
Oh my goodness, long snapper. We may have our first dad swag.
No, God tier for sure. No.
I think long snapper, and I feel like Liam McCullough, friend of the pod, would
soon to be dad.
Soon to be dad, yes, actual dad, who he already I think has a lot of dad swag. I don't know a single long snapper who does not exhibit dad swag.
I actually think it's cause for concern if your long snapper has anything other than dad swag.
100%.
I don't need a long snapper who's out here trying to draw attention to himself.
If you had a long snapper who was God tier level swag,
Could you imagine?
The amount of
Liam McCullough's out there leading the after the game swag
surfing. I truly think that the world would implode. It's like unnatural, you know, if it's a long snapper with God tier level swag.
Would be the kids would have a name for him. It would be like Snap Daddy or whatever.
Snap
He'd be
Daddy.
Like, we'd have just the coolest nickname in the world.
So good. Okay, let's do this again. Dun dun dun. Dun. Defensive tackle. This one's an interesting one.
Yeah, this is a good one too.
Because
we're saying that about all of them.
I know. Defensive tackle is the one, I will be honest with you, as I was thinking about all the positions, defensive tackle was actually the one that I had the most issues putting into a category.
It was the one I think I could debate the most ways internally.
Yeah, you could tell me.
I could make an argument for
any single one.
Maybe outside of God tier, but yeah, I could.
I lean a little bit towards dad swag.
Wow.
I lean a little bit towards dad swag because
I kind of think Aaron Donald alone takes them out of like.
True.
That man did. I won't recall the whole thing, but that man did something inside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium at a game against a former Falcon that alone takes him out of that category.
Also, now that I say that aloud, and now that you've put me in my place, where I needed to be put, I think Grady Jarrett would actually rip me a new one if I said that he had dad swag, or even played in a position that had dad swag.
It's tough. I think low-key swag is the lowest it could be.
Yeah.
And that is where ultimately I think I landed with it.
Yeah.
But I think it's swagmaster or low-key swag. And I kind of think that...
Here's the thing. If I'm putting inside linebacker at low-key swag, I have to put defensive tackle at low-key swag.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Man, we don't really have any swag masters. It's kind of all or nothing, or it's just the luck of the draw so far.
That's true. We have a little bit left to do.
Yeah,
so
we'll see. How'd you rig these, Jared? Gosh. All right, safety.
Yeah.
Good timing. Speak of the devil.
Good one. Okay, so my thing with safety is, and this was a conversation that we actually had before we were even doing this, is because we were going back and forth between the difference between aura and swag. And I said there are certain position groups that I think have an aura about them. It's not necessarily a swagginess. It's more of just like a state of being. Mm-hmm. And that honestly has kind of shifted as we're ranking. That shift to me has gone along with like swag master. And so I would put safety in swag master because they have the upside of being super like swaggy out on an island type of guy who just gets stuff done. Mm-hmm. But then they also have this like low-key thing where they're like, sometimes like things are happening in front of them and they're just like, yeah, y'all handle it.
The safety position to me, maybe more than any other position, is like the Jedi. It's like you've got the Sith or you've got like the actual Jedi, and you either have like a Tyrann Mathieu, just kind of like crazy, I'm running all around the field, or like I'm a Cam Chancellor trying to take your head off every single time. They're on the dark side.
Yeah.
They're just out for evil. Then you've got the cool, calm, collected, like, yes, you will let us in. Like
Right,
they're doing mind tricks on like the quarterback position.
Right.
And that's your Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
That's,
That's a good
Earl
point.
Thomas, like those types of players. It's really, you wrote about Fire and Ice with Billy Bowman and
Yeah.
Xavier Watts. It is that more than maybe any other position.
Great
The
point.
safety position. So I like Swagmaster because
can
you got
either
to be
be
a master of both.
Yeah, either a Jedi Master or a Sith Lord. Either one.
There you go.
You're one or the other.
All right.
My turn?
Yes, your turn.
Okay. Ba-ba-ba. Also, do you like my little like noises that I'm making every time?
Just an elevator.
Quarterback,
Ooh, okay.
QB.
I'm interesting to see where you go with this, so why don't you go first?
Okay. Quarterback, I also had in the same category as safety
Wow, okay.
because I kind of thought that you need to have all eyes are on you. So you need
Fair.
to have a level of accountability within your own self and also ability to lead. And I think a lot of the best leaders have like the charisma of being leaders. I think that's what makes them good leaders is you have to have a little bit of charisma and you have to be able to win people over. And I think some of the best quarterbacks kind of have that nature about them and that I do in the sense of football associate with swagginess. So like I wouldn't put them at God tier because you don't always see them have this God tier level of swag. But I would say 8 times out of 10, regardless of who the quarterback is, he has to have that oomph in order to be successful at the position.
Sure.
So that's my point.
I just don't know if I feel comfortable putting a position once manned by Chad Pennington and Peyton Manning and
That's not what the game is. You can't.
all of those.
Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Matthew
Sure,
Stafford
Daniel
even
Jones.
is like, okay.
Derek Carr, like, what are we doing
Derek
here?
Carr isn't
I don't know
he's
if they're
retired.
swag masters. If anything, I think no other position should encapsulate low-key swag, ideally, than quarterback. All of
Okay.
the Jalen Hurts, low-key swag. Josh Allen, low-key swag. Lamar Jackson, low-key. They're not talked about in those ways.
But here's the thing is I see like that is like the way they carry themselves, but you think about also the way other people look at them and talk about them. Like, oh, I'm following that guy to the ends of the earth.
But I think that's low-key swag. I think if you're out here like talking all the time, hyping yourself up as like, I need to have all this swag and look at me, like that actually comes off as the wrong way for a quarterback. If you're kind of talking about yourself too much, which I think you have to be a swag master, you got to want that spotlight and draw it on yourself and kind of turn it to you a little bit.
Yeah.
For the quarterback, I think that right mix is low-key swag. It's like you got the confidence, you step into the huddle, but everybody's looking at you because you have low-key swag, not because you're like, look at me, I got feathers on my head and I'm just calling all attention to myself.
Fair. We can put him. We can put. I can.
You're trying to fill up Swagmaster. There's only one
There's
player
only
there.
one. I really am trying to fill
a
up
lot of
Swagmaster.
low-key swag positions.
I know, yeah.
Apparently in football, according to us. I don't know, Jared. You got any take on that one way or the other? You feel strongly about quarterbacks?
Oh, he's typing.
Love it. Oh, we got low-key swag because Swagmaster is too much.
Okay.
Well said.
Fair.
Well said, Jared.
Fair.
Thank you.
Fair producer,
Thank
Jared.
you for your insight. All right. So, you drew that one, right? I'm not jumping the gun? Mm-hmm. Cool. Holder. Why do I keep looking at that camera? I keep looking. Holder. Is this even a position?
Here's the thing. Question.
It is. It's more of a role.
It's more of
right?
a role.
Yeah.
It's a role. And you oftentimes at the college level, you'll see quarterbacks be the holder.
Yep.
At the level that we're in now, Bradley, like your punter, usually.
So
or
is
like
the swag of the role dependent upon the position occupying the role?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
So if Jesse Bates went out there and held for Young Wei Koo,
then it would be a swag
it would be a swag master role.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
we solved it.
holder is a revolving swag.
Yeah. If Raheem Morris is out there holding, it's low key swag.
Yeah, rotating swag dependent upon the position the holder comes
The
from.
swag is in the eye of the holder.
Ooh.
There you go. I was trying.
was
We're
great.
like 80% there. It was close. It's not my best.
Honestly, I'll give that one to you.
All right,
I really
thank you.
will.
Thank you so much.
That was a good
Judges,
one.
we got
Judges,
it.
thank
Cool.
you. Let's poll the crowd. Edge rusher.
Yes, let's go. Edge rusher.
Edge rusher.
This is a swag master.
Swag master for sure.
Yep.
I don't have anything more to say other than they have their own celebrations.
Yes.
You know, like you always see like, oh, the corners, like the lockdown thing or the like ice in your veins.
I do. I'm a big fan of the safety. That's how you know corners are God tier, because buckling your seatbelt has never looked as cool as when they do it.
Agreed.
Safety has never looked as cool.
Safety within the safeties in the corners.
Yep.
So with edge rusher, the fact that like guys have their own shticks, like Calais Campbell with the baseball swing, Matthew Judon with the like wiping, Grady Jarrett with, honestly, he didn't really do any, it was more of
Grady
just like
he would just scream. He'd like let a guttural yell out.
But it was always Dave Archer's like, you shall not pass. Like, there are just marquee things that I think each edge rusher, especially the ones that are like really producing at a high level, when you're talking about like Pro Bowl caliber guys, those are the ones that they all have a thing. They all have a thing, which I guess Grady Jarrett, he's not an edge rusher. That was stupid in comparison. But like, but they have their thing.
Right.
And I think because of that, they're swag masters.
Do you think that kind of those celebration dances are the NFL's equivalent for an edge rusher to like getting an NBA shoe line? Do you think you have to have one of those that is almost like identifiable to be like, oh, and now you're in that separate tier as an edge rusher?
Yeah, maybe. I also think that, have you ever seen like the TikToks of the guys who would do like the batting stances of certain players in Major League Baseball? I think like it's
Ichiro and all the different Derek Jeter.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a calling card.
Okay.
Like a very specific calling card than maybe like,
a signature.
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
Like, I think that in each person, I don't think it means that you've reached a level.
Should they do glove lines for wide receivers? Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm just thinking about merchandise.
We'll put a pin in that conversation.
Fair.
But I do think it's like an individual thing. And I don't think you have to reach a certain level of like edge rusher in order to have like your own thing.
That's fair. All right. Next one is kick/punt returner.
I think you have to have, I think they're a bit swag mastery.
They are swag mastery. Yep, absolutely.
I think that they have to be able to carry themselves.
I think just catching a ball, like we talk about being in the spotlight. The ball's up in the air. You're the only. It's like it's coming to me.
Literally, there are only lights.
That's
only
scary.
lights on you, and you have to handle that. And then you know that there are 250-pound men all out sprinting at you.
It's the definition of like you have one job.
You have
like
one
that
job.
And the holder are like you have one job.
You have one job, and it's to like try and get past these people. And
I would argue it's just to catch the ball, which in and of itself is hard.
Gosh. Okay, so swag master for
kick, punt returner.
Yeah. Okay. Tight end.
Tight end, my old position.
Okay, so this is another one that I think is very reminiscent of inside linebackers where the position has changed. If you're talking about tight end of 15, 20 years ago, I would say dad swag immediately. However, I don't know if you can say that with George Kittle, Travis Kelce, like Kyle Pitts.
I think it's low-key swag.
Low-key
for
swag,
sure.
yeah.
Because and the only reason I think it's low-key swag, I actually think you're right, it's trending towards like swag master.
Right, I do
more
too.
than it is dad swag. But you do still have, your Charlie Warners. No shot to Charlie Warner, but it's like, he's not a swag master.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So tight end, the duality of that position still lends itself to that.
All right, we have two left. I'm going to do both of these. Punter.
Punter? I think, you know what? I really, really personally want to put it in God tier because I just think that's so funny. And Johnny Hecker is my personal God. So
no, we can't put them in God tier. Punter has to be in dad swag.
It's obviously in dad swag,
yes.
But I just wanted to give a shout out.
Okay, and this, honestly, I think this is a good one to end on. Offensive line.
Yeah, there's it contains multitudes, but
ultimately, if you're thinking of an offensive lineman, the stereotypical offensive lineman, dad swag.
Absolutely.
Like, and there is no if, ands, or buts about it. Like, this was the easiest one.
Yeah, and if there is any swag on an offensive line, it's going to be country boy swag. Right?
Good point.
So like,
I don't know, Matthew Bergeron.
Sure.
He's.
I think I'm speaking purely in generalities across the league.
Of course,
I think generally you're kind of getting that. So. Yeah, that falls into more the dad swag vibe anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So I think offensive line, 100% there with you.
I think that was it.
That was it. We emptied the cup. We did a good job. So thank you guys so much for going on this journey with us. It was fun.
A journey.
That was like a totally random thought exercise. How'd you think it went?
I liked it. I had fun. I'm curious to see what the people think if they want us to do more rankings. Maybe,
exactly, yeah.
I really liked the like blind rankings of it all. And I honestly think next time we do this, if we ever do it, you can only have 3 spots in each
we
or
should
something.
Create, we have to meet certain criteria or thresholds or quotas.
Yeah, that would be that. So next time, if we bring this back in another way and we're ranking, I think blind rankings within the tier system.
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for games or types of conversations or any type of content you'd like to see on the show, let us know. I mean, that's kind of what this period has been. It's summer. We can come up with some fun ideas, and this is one of them. So we hope to do a lot more stuff like that next year. But we've got training camp just a couple of weeks away, so get excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got an interview with Ben Solak coming next week to kind of tide you over between now and then. But it's a great deep dive. If you want to get smarter about Falcons football, please go listen to that. But anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, Tori?
I think this conversation proved that Will and I are not swaggy.
Nope. Dad swag all the way. You're low-key swag. You're higher than me.
Thank you. I'll take low-key swag. I'll take it. I don't know if I could go much higher than that.
Multiple-time award winner. That's low-key swag in my book.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. For Tori McElhaney, I'm Will McFadden. We'll see you next time.